Justice with Judge Mablean will be life, because in everything we do, it involves the law.
You came to court to testify about what you heard, what you saw, and what you know.
She's fair.
I don't have a hearing problem. This ear works good. This one works even better.
She's firm.
I'm not responsible for that ticket, and I'm not going to pay for it.
Who says you're not going to pay for it? I make that decision, not you.
She's honest.
What you have to say?
All I have to
Nothing.
This is Justice with Judge Mablean. Jordan Lee is suing Jenna Lewis in the amount of $1,800. Mr. Lee claims Ms. Lewis utilized information gained through therapy to ruin his relationship. Ms. Lewis claims she never reveals information about her patients and says she's not to blame for the problems in his relationship with her daughter.
This is the matter of Jordan Lee versus Jenna Lewis. And Mr. Lee, you're suing Jenna Lewis, who was your therapist, because it is your allegation that she revealed client confidence and broke the privilege and told her daughter some things about you that she learned as your therapist. Is that right?
That is true, Your Honor.
Okay, tell me about it.
Well, I was seeing Dr. Lewis as my therapist about 2 years ago, and the reason I saw her was because I actually had anger issues, and I would lash out on my friends and my family members. And it wasn't until my mother told me that she was going to kick me out and cut me off completely. So that was the moment I knew I had to go see a therapist.
Ooh, wait. I'm glad. I wish more mothers would do that so these lazy children would get out the house. Go on.
And I continued to see Dr. Lewis because she was actually helping me cope with my feelings and coping with my anger management. And she was doing a terrific job. And it wasn't until near the end of the year session that I actually noticed a young, cute girl walking to the reception area, and I actually found out her name was Trish. I wanted to talk to her, so I went up and accidentally bumped into her, trying to start a conversation, get to know her, and just like that, we matched.
So you in therapy and over there catching?
Unfortunately.
All right.
And we just started talking over the last few months until I actually had the courage to ask her on a date. And near the end of the date is when she told me she was the daughter of Dr. Lewis.
Oh. She concealed her identity, huh?
And it was fine. I was okay with it, but I didn't want to bring it up in session with Dr. Lewis. And I feel like that Dr. Lewis caught on, or that Trish told her mother, because...
So you said, I feel like, which tells me you don't know. This is just your feeling. Okay? You feel like Dr. Lewis caught on. All right?
And that is because Dr. Lewis was a nice, caring, listening person that helped me with my issues. And then it was like a flip of the switch. She was, I feel, this passive-aggressive. I felt judgmental from her, and her attitude totally changed from helping me to shaming me.
Actually, that's not true, because I didn't know anything about it.
Hold on, therapist. Let me ask you something.
Yes.
You met and ran into Trish in Dr. Lewis's office?
It was actually the building near the reception area.
So you didn't know she was her daughter, and she didn't know why you were in that building. Did you tell her your purpose in being in the building?
I did not.
Okay. So you didn't disclose that either? She didn't disclose that she was a daughter, and you didn't disclose that you were seeing a therapist?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay. So when did it get disclosed to Dr. Lewis that you and her daughter were dating?
That was when we actually started dating about a month after we met with Trish. And we were actually out partying in the dorm rooms because we both go to UCLA. And every time I picked up an alcoholic beverage or a cup, I got this judge, I got this anger from Trish. I'm positive that Dr. Lewis mentioned something to Trish, or Trish told Dr. Lewis who I was after I told them that I was a patient.
Well, you didn't mention that you had any type of alcohol problem. You said you were seeing her for anger management and lashing out. You had an alcohol problem?
A little bit, yes.
Okay. And so when you pick up a cup, you're saying the daughter would pay attention to you and get a little uptight, so you think it's because her mother told?
Yes, that's because when I lashed out on people back a while back ago, it was because I would have an alcoholic beverage and I would hurt my friends. And I feel like that Dr. Lewis passed that information to her daughter, Trish.
All right, let's see what Dr. Lewis has to say.
Well, I first met the plaintiff when he was a patient of mine, that's true. And I felt like he had been doing really well by the end of our sessions. You know, he had made a lot of progress. And, you know, Mr. Lee was much more self-aware, and I encouraged him to keep exploring his feelings and learning to understand his own mind. Mr. Lee had a lot of anger issues, you know, dealing with his parents' divorce. You know, they had divorced at a young age, and I really helped him work through those issues. You know, he was self-medicating. His mom was scared because of how he was acting and acting out.
Self-medicating with what, pills and alcohol?
No, I think just alcohol.
Okay. Now, when you found out that he and your daughter were dating?
Well, I wasn't too happy about it. I mean,
okay.
I knew it was a very bad idea for them to be involved or for me to have any sort of contact with the plaintiff outside of a patient-therapist relationship. And if he was going to be dating my daughter, that meant he would be around me. And, you know, I just didn't think it was a good idea.
Coming up on Justice with Judge Mablean.
I didn't think it was going to be a big deal until it turned romantic, and I knew my mom was going to freak out because she's got this thing against, you know, fraternizing with clients outside of the office.
She's told you that before?
Yeah,
yes.
straight it
yes.
is.
And later.
So that green tree there, whose yard is that? What the tree is? Whose yard is that, yours or his?
Well, he erected
the tree, not the fence.
Tree?
The tree. Whose yard is the tree in?
My yard. That would be.
Oh, thank you.
Justice with Judge Mablean. If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. We're back with the case of Jordan Lee, who is suing Jenna Lewis for $1,800.
The psychotherapist and the patient relationship doesn't mean that you can't deal with them ever again, it doesn't?
It is just my own personal feeling that it was best that, you know, he not
just
be...
to make sure.
You know, and obviously as a concerned mother, you know, I wasn't entirely thrilled with the thought of someone with the plaintiff's history dating my daughter. But my hands were tied by my... you know, my duty to my patient.
All right. Let me hear from your daughter. Come forward, Tricia. Tricia Lewis, you've been sworn. Now, what's your take on this? When did you meet Mr. Lee, and why didn't you tell him you were Ms. Lewis's daughter?
Well, we met at my mother's practice, and I wasn't exactly sure what the relationship was because my mom doesn't disclose to me any of her relationships with her patients. But he came up to me. He seemed kind of quiet, but I could tell that there was something else going on there, but he seemed nice. So we became friends, and I didn't think it was going to be a big deal until it turned romantic, and I knew my mom was going to freak out because she's got this thing against, you know, fraternizing with clients outside of the office.
She's told you that before?
Yeah,
yes,
straight it
yes.
is.
And that's kind of why I didn't tell her, because then she told me that he's her patient. I'll admit it was a little bit fun to, you know, be breaking the rules with Jordan, but that kind of faded away quickly.
You mean you were like rebellious and going against your mother, and it felt like fun?
A little bit, yes.
Oh, okay. Honest young lady.
I'm sorry.
Go on.
But, you know, we continued that way, and it kind of, the novelty of it kind of faded away quickly once my mom found out, and she just began nagging at me and told me just to be very careful not to get very close to him. And having a therapist as a mother, you know, you grow up and you learn these signs of potential abuse, and you know, as much as I tried to ignore her, I couldn't ignore what I was seeing.
What were you seeing?
He had a lot of anger issues, and he was extremely possessive with me. I would want to go out with my girlfriends, and he would accuse me of cheating because I didn't want him to go. I just wanted to have a girls' night. Also, his drinking was out of control. We'd be at parties, and I would tell him, you know, please don't drink this fourth drink of yours, and he would yell at me in front of my friends. I would try to take his car keys. I didn't want him driving drunk, and he slapped the keys out of my hands. My friends saw this as well. They took me to the side, and they were telling me, you know, Trish, you need to be very careful. The way he's treating you is not healthy. So finally, after all this, I finally see him for how he is, and I realized we weren't compatible, so that's why I ended it. And at no time did my mother tell me anything about their private sessions. And this whole lawsuit is happening because he can't let go.
He just thinks that you no longer like him because your mama said so, not because you just got tired of what you were seeing.
Right.
And every mother says, be careful, pay attention. And I have a saying that says, look deep before you leap. And I tell all my kids that. I tell my kids, I tell my grandkids, I tell the nieces, I tell the nephews, whenever I see them with a new person that I don't know that well, even if I know them, it's like, I know a lot of young men that are my children's age, but you don't really know them, you know? And I say, look deep before you leap. Pay attention now. Watch the signs. Look for signs. And I give them signs to look for. And one of the red flag warnings is what she said. Alcohol and getting possessive and knocking things out of your hand and trying to control you. That's a clear sign of potential domestic violence. Why should she stay in that?
I believe I wasn't angry or rude, or I didn't abuse her in any other way, Your Honor.
No, you didn't abuse her. She said she saw a sign that when you had drank too much alcohol, she'd say, don't drink anymore, let me have the keys. You snatch the keys. You, of course, most people, when they drink too much, don't ever feel that they have, and I'm in control, and give me my keys, and you know that. So the next level, you snatch the keys. The next time it may be you snatch her. The next time it may be you slap her. The next time it may be that you punch her, and the next time, you know, you kick her. So it escalates. So the best thing to do in those kind of matters is to cut it off before it gets there.
I believe that Dr. Lewis said information about my past life to Trish, and to be honest, that's more violent than anything.
That's what you believe. What do you know and what can you prove?
I could prove that because out of all my flaws, she points out the fact about alcohol and...
Every person has a flaw that consumes too much alcohol. If you're having 4 drinks and you're a college student, anybody with good sense knows that that's a little bit too much. You need to quit, and you need to cut it off. This young lady, because her mother is a therapist, probably is just a little sharper and more keen about it. You haven't proved to me that she told me that she violated your confidence. Be careful. Get to know him. Watch out. That's not a violation of confidence. What's the nature of this relationship now? Over?
Oh, it's been over. Yes.
Oh, did you hear that? She didn't hesitate.
Been over.
Don't blame her mother. Don't blame her mother. Unfortunately, until you blame yourself and take responsibility, you may find yourself getting in that situation again with the next woman. You've not given me sufficient evidence to establish that Dr. Lewis violated the patient-client privilege. So judgment for the defendant.
All rise.
Judge Mablean has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been denied.
I'm happy that Judge Mablean ruled in my favor, and I'm glad that my daughter recognized the warning signs and cut you out completely.
I still feel like my boundaries were violated, and he shouldn't be getting away with this.
Coming up.
Now, if he has a tree that tall in his yard, that's taller than the bamboo fence, how do you see the mountains?
Justice with Judge Mablean. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. Leanne Carter is suing Steve Johnston in the amount of $1,000. Ms. Carter claims Mr. Johnston put up a bamboo fence between their houses which blocks her view, and she wants him to pay to have it removed. Mr. Johnston claims he put up the fence on his property to keep the plaintiff's son from bouncing a ball on his wall, which disturbs his peace.
This is Leanne Carter versus Steve Johnston, and you're suing him because you believe that his bamboo fence that he installed on his property destroyed your property.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Come on, neighbors. Let's talk about this.
Mr. Johnston decided that my son was being a nuisance because he was bouncing the ball. So he erected this ugly bamboo fence, Your Honor, that's obstructing my view when he could have talked to me about it before putting it up.
He obstructed your view of what?
You could see the mountain. You could just see a lot of the neighborhood. That is the reason why I chose.
Let me see this fence.
Okay, yes, Your Honor.
And do you have a picture that shows the view before? So I can
No,
determine the obstruction?
No, I do not have that, Your Honor, today.
Oh, that's really nice.
Uh-huh.
Then I don't know it before and after. Okay. So that green tree there, whose yard is that? Where the tree is. Whose yard is that? Yours or his?
Well, he erected
the tree, not the fence.
Tree?
The tree. Whose yard is the tree in?
My yard.
That would be...
Oh, thank you. Now, if he has a tree that tall in his yard, that's taller than the bamboo fence, how do you see the mountains?
the view in general. There's trees, but also on you know, the view, you can see trees, if not on that side, on the other side. You know, you get a glimpse of what's out there. That's all.
Talk to me, Mr. Johnston. I'm missing something.
It's more to it than just the fence.
I understand there's more to it than just the fence, but tell me about the fence. What view is obstructed?
You could see the mountains before I put the fence up.
Okay, why you put the fence up?
Because her son would bounce the balls. You know, he's a young little kid, but he see, and I work at night.
How old is this little kid about? Well, you know how old this is.
Yes, ma'am.
He's what?
10 years old.
10 years old. So he's in the backyard bouncing the ball.
Yeah, but he would kick the ball apparently because they would end up hitting up beside my house all the time, and I'm in there trying to rest.
Coming up.
Okay, any fence or other obstruction over 10 feet. Is this over 10 feet?
That's 9.5 feet.
Got real close, huh?
I got that.
Closed captioning provided by. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. We're back with the case of Leanne Carter, who is suing Steve Johnston for $1,000.
Okay, so when he hit the ball, he come up against the side of your house.
Right.
And that's the side where you sleep, with your bedroom.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you ask him not to do that.
Yeah, I spoke with him. I spoke with him about it. He was pretty cool out to yell out there, you know, say, hey, little man, please don't keep knocking the ball up against my house. And then I'll put the window down and go back to sleep. And way after a while, here's a different kind of ball, you know. He got the,
Yes, we understand. You know, it's a soccer ball, a football, a baseball, a tennis ball, any kind of little ball. He's just playing outside.
Yeah, he's a baller.
Being a kid.
Yeah, he's a baller.
There's a law.
What's the law?
Okay, California, according to the California civil law.
Let me see
I
that.
can read it to you.
No,
Or
I
you
like
wanna?
to read for myself.
Yes, ma'am.
No.
Okay, there you go.
No.
That's the
Reading
reason
is fundamental. I read real well. Okay, any fence or other obstruction over 10 feet. Is this over 10 feet?
That's 9.5 feet.
Got real close, huh?
I got that.
Judge Mablean's verdict when Justice with Judge Mablean returns. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean.
Did you measure this?
Well, I think he should
Did
have
you?
measured. I did not know,
No.
ma'am.
You brought him to court.
No, Your
thinking.
Honor. No.
You left out the first word. A nature of offense unnecessarily exceeding 10 feet in height. You got to get to the first part. It's not exceeding 10 feet. So when you read a law, then you have to apply the law. And you have to make sure that all the facts cover the law.
Yeah, before I done it, I still need...
I'm through.
Okay.
Judgment for the defendant.
All rise.
Judge Mablean has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been denied.
I'm sorry I had to take you to court over the fence.
Well, like the judge said, if you read the law, you must understand the law.
This has been a production of Entertainment Studios.